I want to go through the sentences now in a little more detail, starting with practice and review. Number 1, Filium nautai Romani in agris videmus. So we've read it out loud in Latin. Let's find the verb. It is videmus. And videmus is first person plural, present active indicative. And the subject is we. Do we have anything that can stand in for we? In other words, do we have anything in the nominative case? The answer is no. So what do we find? We see what? We see the filium, accusative, singular, masculine. We see the sun in the fields. We can get this right out of the way, in the fields. And then what do we do with nautai Romani? Well, nautai is genitive, singular, masculine, and Romani is genitive, singular, masculine. How would you have known to put those together? How did you know that that is the genitive? Well, remember, nautai is masculine, agricola and agricolae is masculine, and poetae is masculine. Despite the fact that they are first declension nouns and they look like most of the feminine, remember, only a handful of nouns of the first declension, and only these 3 in this book are masculine nouns of the first declension. So it seems awful that we have to spend a whole bunch of time and memorizing for these only 3 words that are different. But nevertheless, we've looked at this. We've said the son of the Roman sailor in the fields we see. That's the Latin word order, which is handy, but to put it into good English, we see the son of the Roman sailor in the fields. Number 2, pueri puellas hodie vocant. The verb is vocant. Who sees? In other words, this is third person with this nt ending. We know it's third person plural, and it's present active indicative. Who sees? The boys. The boys, not sees, I said sees, I meant call. The boys call what? The girls. So this is nominative, plural, masculine. The nominative case, the subject, girls, accusative, plural, feminine. This is an adverb that equals today. So boys call the girls today. Or the boys are calling, or the boys do call the girls today. Number 3, sapientiam amicarum tuarum Ophelia mea semper laudat. Let's find the verb, often at the end, laudat, and it is third person, singular, present, active, indicative. It is the indicative, it is not the imperative, despite the fact that he is talking to, oh, my daughter, he is addressing her daughter, his daughter, or her daughter. The speaker is not saying, hey, you do this. It is not the imperative. It is the indicative. The indicative. And so he is describing what someone else is doing. Oh, my daughter, he or she always praises. Praises what? Find something in the accusative case. Praises the wisdom of this ending here and the adjective that goes with it. Tuarum modifies amicarum, is genitive, plural, feminine. She always praises, oh my daughter, the wisdom of your friends. I don't know what's happening here, but I don't know the circumstances, but she always praises the wisdom of your friends, oh my daughter. 4, multiviri et feminae philosophiam antiquam conservant. We've read it all the way through. Let's find the verb, conservant. It is the third person plural, present active indicative. They preserve, and so they preserve, they maintain. The they portion of that translation is just a placeholder. It is a pronoun. Do we have a noun that can stand in, that can take the place of the pronoun? Yes, men and women. Men and women, what kind of men and women? Multi men and women. Many men and women maintain or preserve what? Philosophiam, this is your accusative, singular, feminine. And what kind of philosophy? The ancient philosophy. Notice the antiquam is also accusative, singular, feminine. Let me take this time to mention that oftentimes in Latin word order, although I've said it many, many times that word order doesn't matter, that the that the subject is often first and the verb is often last. So if you get stuck, a good cheat, a reasonable one, not just, I'm not saying it's cheating, I'm just saying a reasonable way to find your subject verb if you're stuck is go to first last. Many maintain or preserve. And that should get you going in your translation. So many men and women maintain or preserve the ancient philosophy, or ancient philosophy. Number 5, si ira wallet o mi fili saipe eramus et poinas damus. Here in this sentence you have two verbs. We err and we pay, or we give. This is an idiom. What do we give? We give the penalty equals pay the price. So both of these verbs are first person plural, present, active, indicative. This is one part of the sentence. If anger is strong, nominative singular feminine, third person singular, present, active, indicative. If anger is strong, oh my sons, often we err, we make and we pay the price. Number 6, fortuna viros magnos amat. Go to your first last. Fortune loves. Third person singular, present, active, indicative. Nominative singular, feminine. So fortune loves. What does fortune love? In other words, what in this sentence is the accusative case that indicates it's the direct object? Accusative, plural, masculine, and magnos modifies it. So fortune loves great men. Number 7, agricola filiabus pecuniam dat. The verb is this, or we can go first last. A farmer gives. What does he give? This is nominative singular masculine. Third person singular, present indicative active. A farmer gives what? Money. Accusative, singular feminine. And with verbs of giving, showing, or telling, we can often expect the indirect object, which is what you have here, the dative case. Filiabus. The farmer, to his daughters, money gives. I am not suggesting we translate it that way. I am just telling you the Latin word order. And isn't it weird? Isn't it amazing that Latin, agricolam pecuniam, there you go. To the Romans, that was perfectly fine. The farmer, money. Great. The farmer does something to money. And that's fine. They can wait until the end to find the verb. Or in this case, I said money, but or filiabus. Agricola filiabus. Father to his daughters. Okay, great. Pecuniam. Oh, there's some money exchange going on. And they're not surprised when they get to the verb dot. The Romans were happy waiting until the end of the sentence for the verb, whereas we in English, we want that verb right away, don't we? Hey, who did what? That's what we want to know. Romans, we'll figure it out at the end. Let's just see what's going on. Let's see what's involved before we get to the end. So there you go. The father gives money to his daughters. Without a few friends, life is not strong. So what is the subject? Life. What's the verb? Is strong. And that's going to be translated with one word. Without a few friends, that's going to be a prepositional phrase. Where do you want to start? Let's start with the subject. Well, let's just continue analyzing first of all. Without is going to be sine. Sine, if you look it up, it's going to take the ablative. It's an ablative case. Without friends, ablative, plural. Let's say plural, masculine. And few is going to modify that. A doesn't exist. Life is, we've identified this as a subject. We've underlined it once. Nominative singular feminine. Is strong. Third person singular. Present. Active. Indicative of the verb waleo. Walere. Wallowy. Wallatum. And not is just known. So now that we've analyzed everything fully, we can get in the translation. Sine, without, few friends, paucis amicis, life, vita, known wallet. Now, I encourage you that when you work, write down your conjugations. Friends, amicus, amici, amico, amicum, amico, amici, amicorum, amicis, amicos, amicis. And if you need to, write down what they are. Nominative, that's your subject. Genitive is the apostrophe s or of. Dative, which is your indirect object. OS, accusative, which is your direct object. IS, which is your ablative, which is usually right now with a preposition. Write these down if it will be helpful, or better yet, keep them on flashcards so that you can quickly get to, for example, if you look, you need, I need the ablative plural masculine ending, I can just pull it up right here. Number 9, today you have much fame in your country. So let's just start off today. No, let's find the verb. Have. Who has? You. You have what? Fame. In your country is a prepositional phrase. So we've just kind of given a very quick thumbnail sketch of this sentence. Let's go a little more in depth. Today is the adverb. You have, that's all just going to be one word. So we'll just make a little loop there to show that's connected. Second person singular, present, indicative, active. And what word are we going to use? If we know it, we can add it here. Habeo, habere, habui, habitum. It's nice to write these things out so you have them. Write all 4 principal parts. You have fame, and much is going to modify fame. Fame is accusative, singular feminine. In your country, well, in is in. Your country is one word. Patria is one word, and in takes the ablative. Ablative, singular feminine. Of patria, patriae, feminine. Your country, what am I saying? How do I know that patria is your country? It's like being, it's the same thing as patriotic. Can you be patriotic about someone else's country? No. You're patriotic about your own country. And so your country, your own country in Latin, patria contains the idea of your, so you don't need to repeat your. Having said that, I certainly won't mark it wrong if you do, but that's fine. Hodie, today, hodie. You have, habes. Much fame, multum famam, in your country, in patria. Perfectly fine translation. I would be tempted to put it around, make it more Latin. Okay, first and foremost, let me be clear. This is fine. This is fine. Let's make it a little more Latinized. Famam. Maybe we want to start out with famam. So yeah, famam. Famam multam. In patria. Hodie habes. That's a very Latin sentence. First, for the purposes of this class, I'm quite happy with sentence number 1. Perfectly fine. But if you want to mix it around a bit, yeah, famam multam, or maybe we'll do multam famam. Start out with multam famam in patria. Hodie habes. That sounds good. Number 10, we see great fortune in your daughter's lives, my friend. We see, that's my subject verb. It's going to be one word. Fortune. What kind of fortune? Great fortune. In your lives, and this little apostrophe s here, or s apostrophe, indicates the genitive plural feminine. My friend. That's just me, amiche. You know what? I haven't talked about the vocative case. It's not used very often, so I'm actually really just going to pass over it for right now. We see first person, plural, present, indicative, active, of video, videre, weedy, wisum. And so we see is going to be videmus. We see what? We see fortune, accusative, singular, feminine, fortunam. And what kind of fortune? Great fortune, magnam. In your daughters' lives, in vita, oh, I didn't indicate that, lives, let me correct this, it's not singular, it's plural. See, look at what I did. I didn't fully analyze this, ablative, plural, feminine, and as a result, I made a careless mistake. In vitis, and of your daughters is going to be filiarum. And again, I'd be tempted to put this videmus at the end. Fortunam magnam in vitis filiarum videmus. Number 11. He always gives my daughters and sons roses. So, what's happening in the sentence? Gives. Who gives? He. And that's going to be one word, and this is the adverb, which is semper. He always gives daughters... this is incorrect. He always gives. What does he give? Does he give daughters or does he give roses? He gives roses to the daughters. This is going to be the indirect object, and sons, indirect objects. Isn't it weird how in English, he gives roses to my sons and daughters. If we put the indirect object after the direct object in English, we can use to. But if we put the indirect object before the direct object, we have to say, we can just use it by itself. In other words, he always gives my daughters and sons roses. We can also say, he always gives roses to my sons and daughters. Versus gives my sons and daughters roses. Did you know that was a rule in English? Did you? I mean, imagine having to teach this in this English to other people. Okay, so when do I use the to? Well, you use the to if the indirect object follows the direct object, and if the indirect object comes first, as it does here, before the direct object, then you can omit the word to. Holy cow! That's. Did any of you know that we had that rule? Were you aware of this rule? No, perhaps, or maybe you did. I don't know. But we all follow this rule, and I just imagine the difficulty in teaching that. Anyway, this is going to be dative, plural, feminine, dative, plural, masculine, accusative, plural, feminine, third person singular, present active indicative of habeo, habere, habui, habitum. So, semper, or maybe we want to start out with roses. Rosas. To daughters, filiabus. It's a weird ending, you just have to memorize that. Et filiis. Roses to my daughters and sons, semper dot. That's a good Latin word order. Again, if you wanted to go, he gives, dot, always, semper. To my daughters, filiabus, et filiis, rosas. If you wanted to put it in this order for the sake of translation, obviously, that's quite fine. I am just providing you a little option to make it a little more Latinized. In other words, if you were to say this sentence here in Rome, they might not blink twice, but if you were to say this one in Rome, they would think, oh, you're not from around here, are you? They would know what you meant, because it doesn't matter, but it just sounds a little better to the Roman ear the first way. Sententiae antiquae. Debatis, amici, de populo Romano cogitare. Debatis, this is my verb here. And is there a subject? No, because it's contained in here. You, all, or y'all, ought to think. This is your complementary infinitive. It completes the thought. Because you ought, just like I am able, I want, these are all incomplete. You know what I mean? They are incomplete, so we need to complete them. We need to give them a completing infinitive. You ought, friends, to think about the Roman people. De popolo Romano. These are ablative, singular, masculine. De is a preposition that always takes the ablative. Just the way it is. About, and it just means about. Number 2, Maecinas amicus Augusti me in numero amicorum habet. Well, goodness gracious, I don't know what to do with this. Let's go first last. Maecenas has. Perfect. Maecenas. Oh, now we need to... Now, nothing is going to change in your sentence. You know what I mean? Nothing will change in your translation. Maecenas has. Maecenas. Now fill it out. This must be in a positive. Maecenas, friend of Augustus, has me... This is the accusative singular masculine, in the number of his friends. And this is genitive plural masculine. Yes, I know I'm on the second half. I'm going a little faster. I'm not taking a full time to analyze, just for the sake of time. If you have questions, by all means, please ask. But Maecenas, friend of Augustus, me in the number of his friends, has. So Maecenas, friend of Augustus, holds me in the number of his friends. 3. Libellus meus et sententiae meae, vitas virorum monent. First last. Book warns. Oh, but now we've got a problem. Because I know that this is plural. But this et here means, I've got a book and my feelings. So a little book, my little book, and my feelings. What do they do? This is subject verb. Nominative, singular masculine, modifies it. Nominative, plural feminine, this modifies it. Third person plural, present active indicative. My little book and my opinions, they warn what? The accusative, plural feminine, the lives, genitive, plural masculine, of men. My little book and my opinions warn, guide the lives, warn, advise might be good, advise the lives of men. Number 4, pauci viri sapientiae student. First last. First is not really the subject because it's an adjective, but that's fine. Few men, what do? They are eager for, they study. And despite the fact that this is genitive, singular feminine, it is the object of this verb because this means are eager for. Equals study, are eager for, are for wisdom. In other words, in English, this is in fact the direct object, but the verb that we have chosen does not take the accusative case. It is the specific rule of studeo. That does not. That's the only reason we're not using the accusative, because this one single word, studeo, does not take the accusative. Number 5, fortuna adversa virum magnae sapientiae non terret. Well, I know my verb is here. I don't know what the subject is. There we go. Fortune frightens. That's my sentence. Don't get away from that. Anything else we add to this sentence is not going to change the words fortune frightens. Now, we can add this word known. Fortune does not frighten. Okay, let's keep going. What kind of fortune? Adverse fortune does not frighten. Great. Adverse fortune does not frighten what? Adverse fortune does not frighten a man. Great, there's my direct object. Notice I have not gotten away from fortune frightens. I've just added to it. That's the point. Once you get your subject verb, you're golden. All the rest is just decoration. You know what I mean? Fortune frightens. Fortune does not frighten. Keep going. Adverse fortune does not frighten. All right? Adverse fortune does not frighten a man. Okay? Adverse fortune does not frighten a man of wisdom. Adverse fortune does not frighten a man of great wisdom, and that modifies that. Do you see how I just keep building? Once I've got the building blocks, once I have the foundation, once I have the subject and verb. 6. Kimon, vir magnae famae, magnam benevolentiam habet. And that benevolentiam is just fun to say, isn't it? So, again, habet is the verb. It's at the end. What's the subject? Simon. We would call him Simon in English. Simon has. Now just keep adding it on to it. Simon, a man of great fame, okay, has what? Has kindness. That's my accusative singular feminine. Simon has kindness. Simon, a man of great reputation. That would be nice. Simon, a man of great reputation, has great kindness. 7. Semper avarus eget. Well, I don't know. Eget. Semper is the adverb. This has to be the subject. Well, what is avarus? I mean, we know it's the subject because it is nominative, singular, masculine. But it's only an adjective. Where's my noun? Guess what? This is the substantive use of the adjective. The substantive use of the adjective means you don't have to have a noun. The adjective has substance. And we know that in this case it's the greedy man because it's in the masculine, it has a masculine ending. If we wanted to talk about a greedy woman, we would put a feminine ending on there. So in this case, it's a greedy man. We have to add the man in English. In Latin, it's optional. Always a greedy man is always needy, is always wanting. I need that, I want that. That's a greedy man. Nulla copia pecuniae avarum virum satiat. First, last. Well, first is an adjective. Last. Supply satisfies. Now notice in this sentence, a supply, not just a supply, I'm building on this. No supply satisfies. No supply of money satisfies. No supply of money satisfies a man. Whoops. A man. Great. No supply of money satisfies a greedy man. And there's your sentence. Notice here we did not use the word for man. And here you did. Because you can if you like. This is more common. And as if to prove a point, number 7, substantive adjective. Number 8, use the noun with the adjective. And then on number 9, he goes back to using the adjective alone. Money irritates a greedy man. It doesn't satisfy. Very unsatisfactory sentence. Did I read it in Latin? Pecunia avarum irritat non satiat. Very unsatisfactory in English. We've got to put more words in English. The Romans want to leave off words. Money satisfies the greedy man. It does not satisfy him. Are words we need to add to complete the thought. In Latin, it's enough to say non satiat. And a Roman would find it very weird that we want to say non satiat because the Roman would say, we're saying it does not satisfy what? And the Roman would say, well, I used avarum just 2 words ago. Why do I need to repeat some pronoun for avarum? You can't remember it in 2 words? I mean, that's what a Roman would think. In other words, why do we feel compelled to put it more words in English? Money does not satisfy a greedy man. Money irritates a greedy man. It does not satisfy him. Oh my gosh, a Roman would just not comprehend our adding all those extra words on the end. A Roman would think, non satiat's enough. What did you think I was talking about? I've already used money in avarum 3 words, 4 words ago. And this is another aspect of Latin just to get used to. They are going to use as few words as possible. 10. Secrete amicos admone lauda Paulam. Okay. These are the imperatives. Secretly, privately, this is your adverb, admonish your friends. Praise them openly. In other words, if you got something nasty to say, take your friend aside. Don't tell them in front of everybody. Don't put it all out there on Facebook. Now, if you want to praise your buddies, go ahead. Yeah, put that out there on Facebook all you want. But in private, admonish your friends. Chastise your friends. Openly praise them. And number 11, modum tenere debemus. We ought to hold, to maintain, in the sense of maintain, moderation. It's just a simple 3-word sentence, morum tenere demebus. We ought to maintain moderation is fine. Let me make one more comment on this one right here, because I think it's a great sentence. In that, we have secrete, amicos, admone. We have the adverb and the imperative. And then we turn around and we go lauda, palam. Imperative, adverb. In other words, we have it's sort of the adverb, A, B, B, A. Notice, see that pattern? In the first half, we have the adverb first and then the imperative. And in the second half, we have the imperative and then the adverb. Just for a little variety. Well, that little variety is called a chiasmus, because if we have the adverb going with the adverb and the imperative going with the imperative, this is the nice Greek letter X, chi, and that's why this construction, the ABBA, is called chiasmus. This is the same chi as in the chi rho symbol, the first letters of Christ's name. It's the same chi that we use in Christmas. The chiasmus, that ABBA, and it's very nice to say secretly, admonish your friends, praise them openly. And I just like that construction, and I wanted to take this opportunity to pass it out, to point it out. Well, that's it. If you have any questions, by all means, let me know.